Well, hi everybody again. Another day. Don't know if it's 22 or 23. I can't believe it's rolling on, but we're rolling on. And thanks for all the encouragement we're receiving. The camps are growing. Every year we put the forms out, they fill up in 24 hours. And the Kennedy's camps up in the northwest of Ireland, the camps are really pumping. And they had 4 weeks of camp. We had 4 weeks of camp. We really needed somewhere of our own because the facilities were not great. There's no real showers at Lisserdale. That's why we went into the sea every day. Um, the showers up were there. Some years you would go, remember Joe going dead pigeons up in the water and all sorts of stuff like that. Better not go into those details with you. But over to Scotland, even there's no showers there, you had to go to the swimming pool every day there and swim as well. So by God's grace, the gentleman who built our house and was very generous to us said, let's see if we can build something for CEF in the northwest there, and it'll do the whole of Ireland. So we looked around and found some land down at Rosnowla, which is only 1 mile from a magnificent beach, and bought that land. God provided the money to CEF. People gave money for that. CEF is a faith mission. You ask God and tell his people, and people are very, very generous coming alongside. And we went down Mabel, and Dorothy cut the first sod. I think it was 95, maybe 94, but 95. And then they started building this centre, beautiful dorm blocks with 8 people in each room and a leader. Then a beautiful big gym, magnificent gym with everything you could ever want. Football pitches, all privately cut off from everybody else. No issues with noise or anything. The few neighbours were there were very happy for everybody to be there, and it was just magnificent. In 94, Armandi had went off to Queen's University to do a degree prior to doing a teaching degree. Gary in 96 had gone off to Limavady to do a sports science. He wanted to be a sports teacher, and just the camps were going great. The school's work was going great. We were very, very happy, with no thought of doing anything. And then I got an invite by a dear friend of mine, Tom Somerville, who's the national director of Romania at that time. And he says, why don't you come to Romania and do some training of the workers and do a bit of preaching and see how it goes over there and just come and visit us there? I said, I would love to. So I flew out to Romania and then arrived in Budapest, was picked up in Budapest by Tom, and then brought over the border and went and visited people all the way over to the national office. And then we ended up going up into the Carpathian Mountains. Magnificent place, but very rustic and very rural. And there was about 40 CEF workers from Romania. God really touched that country, raised up a lot of people with big hearts for the boys and girls in that nation, and really top class workers there. And we ate strange food, stuffed peppers, I remember vividly, and some soup, which I don't know what it was, but we got through. We ate what was put in front of us, like the good missionary prayer, God, I'll put it down if you keep it down. And in those days, that's what it was like a wee bit, because the food was very, very strange. But then I went over to Brasov and stayed with one of the workers, Apollo. And remember going in, he said, do you want some coffee? Him and his wife, Lily. And I said, yes. He says, do you want milk? I said, yes. He said, let me go to the fridge. And he opened the window. And there on the ledge, the window ledge, was a carton of milk. And it was nearly frozen because it would have foundered you. It was freezing. There was no heating, like central heating or anything like that. So I had layers upon layers of clothes. Anybody that knows me knows that anything less than about 75 degrees, I'm freezing. But I was enjoying this, going around preaching and teaching, doing a little bit of training, and really visiting people, staying with them. I remember going to visit this guy, old man. He had stainless steel teeth, and the couch that they were on doubled up as their bed, and they had nothing. The poverty in Romania those days was terrible. It was just after Ceausescu, and the shops were empty. There was just nothing about the place, and just people were desperate. We seen these kids running around naked in the Roma villages, living in open wagons out in the snow piling down, and they had nothing. They were very poor. They were hungry, dirty. it really was touching my heart seeing these dear children as we would go in and try to teach the Word of God with them, with the local workers. I remember staying in this old man's house and his wife, and they had food for me, and I'm eating the food off this little table, had no idea what the food was. And these cats started crawling around my legs, and I don't like cats at the best of time. And I said, can I go to the bathroom, through a bit of talking and making signs, and went into the bathroom. I had to go through the wee kitchen, which was about a metre square, and the cats were in there smelling around the pots and things. And I thought, I think I better fast here for a couple of days. And that night I went in, and the bed was spotless, white sheet, but it had been sewn about 100 times with the holes that had been in it. But it was meticulous, and this dear old couple looked after me so very, very well. And I remember Tom and I were travelling to another part of the nation. He said, let me go. And he just said goodbye, put his coat on, grabbed the Bible. And he's sitting at the back of the car. As we would say in Ireland, he had never in him or on him. And he's singing how great they art. And he just travelled around preaching. And we'll go to a town, and a believer will come out and say, come and stay in my house. And this is what the wee man's life was. It was unbelievable. It just really very, very humbling. I remember going to another town, and I had to speak 6 times. And every time I went to preach, I arrived in the town, the rain was falling. There were no drains. So after a couple of hours, you had a couple of inches of water. And then after the next morning, I woke up and the water was up over your ankles. We were just traipsing through this here, going around preaching in churches. And one wee man followed us to every church 5 times on that day. And I wondered myself, what's this wee man doing, taking notes here? And then finally he says, this is your last one here before we head back towards the border again. I said, where is it? He says, just around the corner. Everything's just around the corner. That's what Tom Somerville told me, and it was right. Everything's just around the corner. We were around the corner. It was bucketing. The water's nearly up around our knees, and there was flats in front of us. We could hear the singing, people outside on the balcony. And as we arrived at the flats, there were people right down the stairs. We went up to the 3rd floor. There were lounge suites on the stairs, sitting, chairs on the stairs, wardrobes on the stairs. And we got up there. They pushed me right up the stairs, and then they opened the door and pushed me in. And I got in there with the Bible. And the place was packed tight with people praising the Lord. And I preached the gospel. A number of people trusted the Lord. And at the end of it, everybody was going, and they were bringing the lounge suite and everything back in. I said, wow, why are you doing this? This man said to me, he says, oh, these people need to know the Lord. They need to trust in God. And I said, you empty your house? He says, yes, we do this a couple of times a week because people need to know the Lord. And I'm telling you, I was mightily humbled. This man would do this. And I said, why are you taking notes? He said, I'm going to preach all your sermons when they go away. I don't know how much joy he got from that, but I came out of there feeling about that small, feeling how much I had and how little these people had, and yet the zeal for God and the zeal for the people around them. I remember going into an open air market, and all the meat's hanging, and there was a Romanian Orthodox priest. On the way to the market, we went in to this church, and it was dark. There were no lights in it, and all the people were on their knees coming up to this priest and handing him stuff. And I thought to myself, these boys are bad news, you know, they're just taking off these poor people who had nothing. And when we got there, there was a priest, and he had this sign in front of him. We were with one of the CEF workers. I said, what does the sign say? He said he's looking for money to take care of him. And I said, right, just translate this. And I started preaching in the open air. I said, this man's a whitewashed sepulchre. He'll give you nothing. I said, you need Jesus. And we preached the word of God, Jesus. This guy just stood there with a face like thunder. And a number of people came and spoke to us at the end. It was amazing. And as we made our way back to the border, Tom said to me, he said, I want to offer you a job. Come in as the pastor, all the people in Romania here for 3 years. Just for 3 years. Now, I had been reading the book of Acts the whole month that I'd been there. And as we arrived there, I'm thinking, 3 years in Romania, there's nothing here. But the people are great, and they're wonderful, and the workers are powerful and fantastic. Could God want me to do this? And as I read the last chapter of Acts, it says Paul stayed 3 years in a house. And I thought, could that be God's call for me? What would Dorothy say? And I'm praying the whole way back on that plane. Before we left, I was on my knees in the CEF house in Budapest. And I said, God, the need, these people. I've been offered this 3 years. What have you got for me? What's lying ahead of me? And God spoke to me so clearly. He said, Alan, you can run and run in circles. Your life is too comfortable now. I didn't think my life was comfortable. He said, you're living in a comfort zone, but if you give yourself to me, I will do things in your life you won't begin to believe is possible. And I said, God, be it unto me. What had God lying up ahead of us? What would Dorothy say when I go back? We'll find out tomorrow. God bless your hearts. Enjoy your day. Bye.